You guys know by now one of my favorite things. When a new project car rolls into the Auto Obsessive Garage. And I am super pumped about this one. Let's check it out. Welcome back to the Auto Obsessive Garage. Chadwick with you again for the first installment of, what are we even going to call this thing? I don't know. I'm sure we'll come up with something clever. But anyway, what you can see behind me is the new project in the garage and something I need to show you guys around. You can see the condition, see the issues, like we always do. And nothing comes in here ready to go, right? We don't ever take anything in, give it an oil change, and send it on its way. It's always a project, and it's usually an endeavor of love to bring these cars back. So the example you can see behind us is a 1990 BMW 325i. And that is the beloved E30 chassis, which is awesome. For you non-BMW guys, everybody's really about those chassis codes. E30 is one of the most loved because it was this generation that introduced the world to the BMW M3. The rest is history, right? Everybody loves that, especially that car. But the 325i's were often overlooked and now are finally getting the recognition, and we're also happy about this, that they really deserved. This is a wonderful platform. It's rear-wheel drive, relatively lightweight, mechanically quite simple compared to modern BMWs. It has an inline six, gotta love that. Good power, good torque, a really cool look, one of the most recognizable front ends in the BMW catalog. Yeah, it's all around great. The values represent that, and the car itself deserves any value. It's appreciated. It's earned its value. But anyway, I don't want to talk too much about it. This is a really great car, again, and I'll talk about it in the video. It's a one-owner example, 120,000 miles. Really good example. You know, just this condition's getting so hard to find, so rare nowadays, and it's a California car its whole life, which, let me break it down for you, that means no rust. So to get under a 30-year-old car and not see rust, which I'll show you the underbelly, big bonus, right? Huge bonus. Without further ado, let me take you around the car, show you all the issues, all the things we're gonna address before we set this thing beautifully restored back into the wild. But what an awesome car. Super happy to get my hands on these. These are getting super hard to source. All right, without further delay, guys, our E30 325i. And here we go. We've got a 1990 BMW 325i in the Auto Obsessive Garage. Look how distinctive that front end is. Yeah, she's a little bit roughed up down there on the lower right, as you can see, but we'll get that taken care of. Also, the hood's missing. That's kind of fun, but we've actually removed that. It's hiding behind my Daytona Shelby Z over there. The reason being is it's going to make life a lot easier because I'm doing a timing belt water pump on this amazing inline six, and you know, the hoods do come to the front on these vehicles, just like the old Corvettes and a lot of older style cars, and it makes it a pain in the butt to access everything, so decided to make my life a little easier and remove it. But let me give you a tour of this car. It is quite remarkable. The 325i in general from the E30 series is, how do I say this, one of the most iconic and well-loved BMWs of all time. You have a really stout, reliable inline six. You have rear-wheel drive. You have a pretty low curb weight. It's in the 2,800 pound range, and you have a manual transmission if you're lucky, and we are lucky. Some other fun facts about this car you see in front of you. This is a one-owner example. California car its whole life, so doesn't even know what rust is. And only 124,000 miles, I believe that's the number, on the odometer. You cannot beat this. This is getting so hard to find these things. they're going way up in price, and there's a good reason. These things are awesome. So let me give you a tour of the car. Overall, it looks pretty solid. Really straight body, little damage down the front, we'll take care of that. It's bronzite, whatever the heck color that is. It's actually, I love this color. A lot of people love this color too. Reminds me of my old 190 E16V color. But as you can see, super straight, sunroof, of course. There's your inline six, super accessible. Everything's pretty clean under here. We've had to touch up a couple things. I'm gonna be tearing it all apart because I'm doing every seal. Now, timing belt, we have records on this car. It was well taken care of by the one owner. So the timing belt was done, but it was done like 15 years ago or something to that effect. So it's not there on mileage, but there on time. So I always play it safe. I'm gonna pull it out, new water pump, replace all the gaskets, valve cover. I might take that out and give it a nice coat of aluminum paint just to make it look clean, keep it looking stock, keep it looking fresh, and go over everything else in here, replace any oil seals. It's gonna be an operation, but such a lovely car, why not? Coming around here to the driver's side, as you can see, pretty straight body. Interior, these didn't actually hold up too well for the most part, so we do have a little bolster wear there, but overall the leather is in fantastic shape. No cracked dash, no gauge cluster, no steering wheel. I'm just kidding. All that was removed. So to tell you guys why the gauge cluster was removed on this car is we were having issues with some of the temp gauge would periodically go out, the speedometer would sometimes go on and off. So there's a certified rebuilder that everyone uses in the E30 community, so we have removed the gauge cluster and sent that off. So I think I do have a video of that, so I might show that for those people that want to, but it is not a fun operation. Everything stock in here works well. Again, big money item right there is that 5-speed manual. Oh, gotta love that, especially in one of these E30s. It just increases the driving enjoyment at least tenfold over the automatic. And then aftermarket radio, so we might source the original stereo system for this car. I think that's well worth it to do that. But again, dash isn't cracked. I mean, look at the leather on that passenger seat. Lovely. Headliner, absolutely stunning condition. This car is so clean, guys. It's kind of out of this world. Let's look in the back seat here. Again, look at these seats. Amazing, love that colored leather. It smells like an E30 BMW covered in leather. Look at the headliner, guys. This is just beautiful, isn't it, when you can see a headliner like that? Yeah, interior wise, this car is close to being perfect. Very nice condition. See the trunk's open, everything's really clean in here. Mostly complete toolkit. We're gonna source the rest of the tools. Obviously, jack and everything, but the battery's disconnected now because we're about to do so much work. But just so cool to see one of these in this condition. Just absolutely fantastic. Wheels are in pretty great shape. There's some paint coming off, as you can see, pretty standard because these were painted aluminum wheels. I'm probably gonna go ahead and refinish those. That's a huge project, but especially with this many spokes in this design, but boy, let's just go for it. Get some new center caps, get this wheel painted, and really make it look good. We put new tires on it already, so that's great. Yeah, handling's pretty good. We'll get it up on the lift in a little bit and see how the suspension components look. There's our steering wheel right there. Steering wheel's in good shape too, which is cool, and it's some of our gauge cluster, but yeah, you can just see the interior of this car is absolutely fantastic. Love these. Real timeless design, angled, everything angled at the driver. Boy, it doesn't look like an 80s design inside the car, right? It looks great. But yeah, here it is. Another look down the side of it. You can see that the body is unbelievably super straight. Absolutely awesome. Yeah, these are getting so hard to find like this. This is, like I said, a one owner example. So what's our plan? Or what are you gonna do with this amazing E30? Well, first off, timing belt, water pump, every oil seal. That's a huge job. Gonna knock that out. Gonna inspect everything thoroughly. Cosmetically, we'll touch it up a little bit, get her looking the way it should. Gauge cluster should come back. We want that to be fully functional. And that's honestly, maybe some stock components, like get that stock stereo in there. Let's get on it. What an awesome blank slate to start with. We're also missing the black lip under there. We do have that. So as I go through the build, we'll divide it up like I usually do. Cosmetic sections, engine sections, all that good stuff. But what a lovely car. I just can't get over how cool that front end is. Yeah, E30s are just freaking stunning, aren't they? Awesome. Really excited to do this, guys. I say now we get the car up and we check out how good it looks underneath. Let's get our 325i off the ground and do a real thorough inspection. All right, let's slide under this BMW and see what we got on the underbelly, which is usually the scariest place to look. As you can see, brand new oil pan. How awesome is that? The other one was a little damaged, leaky. So 2 birds, 1 stone, brand new oil pan in there. Let me get some light under here so we can see a little better. Really dry, which is awesome. Now you can see some old gunk. Everything back there, you can see on the end of the transmission going down the middle of the car there, you can definitely see some old gunk that's collected over the years. A lot of that's due in part to this oil pan that was just completely leaking oil out, and that'll get slung back as you drive. I see a little what looks to be moisture here on the steering rack. It's hard to tell because that's a low point on the system, so a lot of oil, if it's valve cover up above, or even old oil from this oil pan when it was leaking got on there. But it does look a little wet, so I'm gonna inspect the power steering system just to make sure we're not leaking down there. But don't be fooled, you're at the lowest part of the car, guys. You don't wanna ever assume or jump to a conclusion that it's that component that's leaking. Oil will, by fault of gravity, travel down to its lowest point, and that is one of the lowest points in the car. So we can start there. We're looking up here, brand new oil filter and everything. A little liquid around the oil filter, so I'm gonna check the housing out, make sure everything's tightened up there. But everything else, suspension components look pretty original for the most part. No torn boots or ripped open bushings, so handling on this car was pretty good. So nothing to complain about there. So honestly, I don't think there's too much we have to do there. I'll figure that out. We'll clean up under here, make it look nice. And that way we can keep track of if there are any active leaks or anything like that. You guys know how I do this. So I'm pretty happy with what I've seen under here. So I think it's time. It's very original, like I said, 1 owner car. Great condition under here. This is California style, guys, where you don't see any rust or corrosion. Incredible, right? 30-year-old car. So let's pop these wheels off. I'm kind of curious to see the condition of the brakes. That's another big thing. And before we do that, let's go peek at the power steering reservoir under the hood and see the condition of the fluid. Real easy to check the power steering fluid on your E30 BMW. Come to this weird looking plastic bottle here. Let's open that up, and yeah, that's kind of a thick brown in there. Can you guys really make that out on camera? Yeah, I'm not super happy with that. Thick. If your power steering fluid's, oh yeah, baby. Look at that color. So that's old power steering fluid, guys. That's, oh boy, probably original. A lot of people don't service this. So what I'm gonna do is completely drain this power steering system, put brand new fluid in. Now this uses ATF fluid. I'll have to check exactly what ATF fluid is approved. Yeah, it says it right there actually too. ATF oil only. So we're gonna get some really good automatic transmission fluid that's approved for this car after we clean out that old fluid. I'm not saying that's what's causing the leak, or if that isn't even a leak, but this is definitely something you want to identify on older cars. It's a safe bet. We're gonna be replacing most of the fluids. The radiator's gotta come off, so we'll put new coolant in it. Let's keep our inspection going. We've got the wheels off the E30. Let's go ahead and inspect the brakes. So overall, pretty crusty looking. That's pretty standard. These probably were on the car when it sat for a while. I don't feel any grooves. I don't feel any, not a real lip either. They are crusty though, so I might clean them up. The thing is, the pads have an incredible amount of life still in there, but you can see down in there that there is a good amount of pad life in there. So yeah, you can see right up in here. Tons of pad life. So yeah, it's a tough call. It always feels nice to slap new pads and rotors on a car, but the braking felt honestly really good with this. No shuddering, consistent braking. I might just clean up some of the surface corrosion. This could be just from sitting. Take a wire brush to this, clean it up, clean up the outside of the rotors too, but I don't know. I'm gonna have to wait and make the call. They just look worse than they're worn. The pad wear isn't bad, the rotor's in good shape. Yeah, it's a tough call. We'll see if we're gonna go ahead and do that or not. So yeah, remember, brakes aren't just about looking pretty, they're about functioning, and these ones functioned well. So yeah, we might have to make a decision on that. Same with the rear. You come back here, this just looks extra crusty just because the way the rotor is shaped. It goes over the hub, but again, plenty of pad life here in the rear too. So brakes are solid. This is a tough call. I may just put pads and rotors and do fluid, but we might just be in for a fluid flush. These pads and rotors do seem pretty nice, so I'll just clean them up and we'll see. We'll make that decision when we get there, but I'm always happy to see this. I don't see a lot of defined deep lines or lip or worn down to nothing pads. That's always a good sign. This car was very well kept up, and we do have the whole history record of the car too, which is cool. Benefit of buying a one-owner car, I guess, sometimes. But yeah, super happy with what we're seeing so far. Excellent. Taking a closer look at the wheels, you can see the paint is definitely chewed off, and that's just going to be years of driving. Rock, debris, sand, anything else on the road just coming up and getting the inside there. Now these might be a pain in the butt to paint because of these angles, but definitely would bring them back to life. You can see some paint missing there. The center caps are missing the BMW logo, so just for aesthetics we might go ahead and replace those and clean it up. And then a lot of paint actually missing right there, as you can see. So I think some fresh paint, like strip these all the way down, some real fresh paint after really good sanding, we'll bring these back to life. New center cap, boom. These are gonna look like brand new wheels, which will make the car look fantastic. And here's the close-up of that dinged up spot on the lower fascia here. Yeah, you can see it took it right there. The fog light still functions. I'm gonna have to straighten all this out, pull this. This is pretty thin metal through here, so we should be able to bend this back into correct shape. Shouldn't be too bad. We are missing that little duct there on this side. This is the guy we're talking about. You can see that duct, it's a functional duct. But if you come back over here, we actually do have this. We sourced another one, and we sourced the black lower lip that goes here. So what we're gonna do is straighten that up first, make sure the fog light's in there, make sure the duct is in there, and go ahead and put that lower lip back on the car. And that'll help it look really good. Restore this iconic E30 BMW front end. All this black trim, we'll probably do some touch-up paint. Just clean her up a little bit. A couple little biffs here and there, but overall, again, the body's super straight here. So just another spot we have to do.